Professor Wergeles here. We are on lecture number 30. We just got done talking about closures. Make sure you save your code and upload it on the server. That way you have all of your changes. We are actually going to number 6 plugins. I'm going to show you some cool examples of what you can do with jQuery for your final project. And then we are going to look at hacking W3 schools. So go to data retrieval closures in jQuery. We're in number 6 plugins. And we're going to look at number 1, Colorize. So you can right-click, do a view and edit. Now with JavaScript, we've learned prototypes. So I can create an object, I can create properties and methods with that prototype. Now jQuery, I can make my own custom functions as well. So if you scroll down here, I have a script called Colorize. So here you're going to see that I am creating a function expression with jQuery. So I'm calling the jQuery library. I'm saying I have a new function which is called Colorize. Colorize is a function that takes one parameter. It's going to modify the CSS. It's going to change the background color to whatever color was passed to it. And then I'm going to return this. Now this is typically returned for chaining, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit. You'll see here I have an immediately invoked function expression which is used to protect the $ alias and global namespace. So you see here I have a function and I'm passing the $ in as a parameter, which is going to be the jQuery reference. I don't want to override the $. I want to use the $ and access the functions for jQuery. Remember, the $ is accessing the jQuery library. To access jQuery, we can use the keyword jQuery or we can use the $ alias. But I don't want to pass that by reference. I want to pass that by value. Okay, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. If you remember, we were doing templates. We were looking at the front end. We had a for loop. We were losing the variable I. Well, I don't want to lose the $ variable. I don't want to override that variable. So I'm going to protect the $ alias by passing that in as a parameter. Now, if I go to jQuery and look at plugins, you'll see I have a link at the top of the page. You can copy that link, go to the browser, paste it, and we'll look at plugins. A jQuery plugin is simply a new method that we use to extend jQuery's prototype object. By extending the prototype object, you enable all jQuery objects to inherit any methods that you add. As established, whenever you call jQuery, you're creating a new jQuery object and with all of jQuery's methods inherited. The idea of a plugin is to do something with a collection of elements. You could consider each method that comes with the jQuery core a plugin, like fade out or add class, which we've used before. And in addition, you can make your own plugins and use them privately in your code, or you can release them into the wild, into the world. There are thousands of jQuery plugins available online. The barrier to creating a plugin on your own is so low that you'll want to do it right away, which is exactly what we're doing here. We've learned prototypes, and now we're creating plugins, which is going to use the jQuery prototype. Now, as you read in that document, there are thousands of plugins out there. So if you're looking for something, I recommend you search the web first. Try to see if anything's been created. That way you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Okay, you can use somebody's plugin for your final project. Just make sure that you reference it. If you start copying a bunch of code online, you're going to get flagged for cheating. You can use some plugins for jQuery, and that's not considered cheating as long as you reference them. You can consider it like a paper. If you use somebody else's quote, you need to reference that quote. Same with the code in this class. Now, we're creating our own function called Colorize, which is going to change the background color. And we're adding this to jQuery's prototype, which is similar to what we did with the JavaScript example before. You'll see once the DOM has finished loading, we're going to call the special class, we're going to call Colorize, and then we're going to call the HTML function. Now, Colorize is our own custom function, and the HTML function is the default plugin which comes with jQuery core. You'll see I have a few classes called special, and I'm going to go and load that page on the web. So I'm going to click on back. I'm going to load number 6, number 1. You'll see the first 3 are steel blue, which I pass in as a parameter, and the last one is not. Okay, so I'm calling the special class. And on the special class, I'm calling Colorize. So you can see this plugin works. So I'm creating my own functions for jQuery. And that's why jQuery is so powerful and so popular. Bootstrap is built on top of jQuery. And what's nice about jQuery is it is a JavaScript library that you can open up and view the code. So it's open source. And if I want to create a function, I can do that by opening up the source code and adding the function in myself, or I can do it by creating a prototype, leaving the original source code alone, which is what I recommend, and adding it through our custom plugin, which you see here. So now Colorize is part of jQuery, and I can use that anywhere. I have more examples to show. We're going to move to the second plugin. Stick with Professor Wergeles. We'll see you in the next video.